Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for being here. It's about 8:30 p.m. on Election Day, and that means, with the exception of a few polling places that remain open for additional time under judges' orders, polls are now closed across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Across our Commonwealth today, we've seen high turnout and long lines. If you were in line to vote by 8 p.m., I ask you to please stay in line. You're eligible to vote, and you will be permitted to cast your ballot. Please, please, please be patient and remain in line. We've also been made aware that in the course of the last hour, multiple bomb threats have been called into polling locations and municipal buildings across Pennsylvania. My team and I have been in direct communication with Pennsylvania State Police Colonel Christopher Paris, who is coordinating with local and federal law enforcement as well as PEMA. State and local law enforcement, along with the FBI, are investigating these threats, and thus far there is no credible threat to the public.
As in every election, a few Pennsylvania counties reported isolated, localized issues at the precinct level. Those counties worked quickly to address those issues. The only countywide issue that we encountered today was in Cambria County, where the court took appropriate action to extend voting hours to 10 p.m. tonight so that all voters can have the opportunity to cast their vote.
Now, the most polls are closed. Local election officials across the Commonwealth, along with thousands of trained volunteers, have begun counting the votes here in Pennsylvania. As these votes are counted, they will be reported to the Department of State, and we will post live results at the website at electionreturns.pa.gov. I want to reassure Pennsylvania and all the folks across the country who are paying attention to our Commonwealth that every legal, eligible vote will be counted accurately and that the will of the people will be respected. I also want to reassure Pennsylvanians that our county partners know how to process and count votes accurately. Secretary Schmidt has spent the last year visiting all 67 counties and meeting with election staff all across Pennsylvania. His great team at the Department of State has been working with our county partners over the last 2 years to train election clerks all across Pennsylvania and ensure that they are ready to administer elections freely and fairly. All 67 counties are now prepared and ready to process and count ballots securely and accurately. I've been asked many times over the last several months what improvements have been made since the last presidential election here in Pennsylvania. Let me walk you through a few of the differences. First, all 67 counties now have far more experience handling and processing mail ballots. Since 2020, our election partners have successfully administered 8 elections that saw a large percentage of votes cast by mail. Second, county officials have purchased new equipment that allow them to process votes more quickly. And thanks to Act 88, which became law in 2022, counties are now mandated to count votes continuously through the night until they've completed the task. And third, in 2020, about 2.5 million Pennsylvanians voted by mail, which meant 2.5 million mail ballots had to be processed and counted. This year, it appears that the final number of mail ballots needing to be processed and counted will be closer to 2 million. That's not a reflection on the energy around the presidential race or any race in Pennsylvania, or a reflection of Pennsylvanians' interest in voting. Rather, it is a reflection of how people chose to vote, and it seems that more people showed up at the polls in person today than in 2020.